Latinos, did you know that AT&T DirecTV funded pro-Trump One America News? One America News, the far-right network whose fortunes and viewership rose amid the triumph and tumult of the Trump administration, has flourished with the support from a surprising source. AT&T Incorporated, majority owner of DirecTV, the world's largest communications company. Welcome to Radio Labio's English program, where I share the most interesting notes of the day that you may not have had time to catch up on. I'm Juan Andres. I podcast in English and Spanish to ensure that all Latinos can have access to our programs regardless of what language they speak. Thanks for listening. A recent review of court records shows the role AT&T played in creating and funding OAN, One America Network, a network that continues to spread conspiracy theories about the 2020 election and the lies about the COVID-19 pandemic, and of course, all of Donald Trump's lies about racism and everything else you can think of. One America News founder and chief executive has testified that the inspiration to launch One America News in 2013 came from AT&T executives. He says they told us they wanted a conservative network. During a 2019 deposition, they only had one, which was Fox News, and they had 7 others on the other left-wing side. When they said that, the founder of One America News decided to build one. Since then, AT&T has been a crucial source of funds flowing onto One America News, providing tens of millions of dollars in revenue. 90% of One America News' revenue came from a contract with AT&T-owned television platforms, including satellite broadcaster DirecTV. The One America News founder has testified he was offered $250 million for One America News in 2019. Dallas-based AT&T, a mobile phone and internet provider that probably you have in your home or you have as a cell phone provider or internet provider, also owns entertainment giant Warner Media, which includes CNN, HBO, AT&T, and has acquired DirecTV in 2015, and in August spun off the satellite service but retained 70% shares in the new DirecTV company. AT&T's total U.S. television subscriber base, including satellite and streaming services, fell from 26 million in 2015 to 15.4 million as of August. After this story was published, AT&T issued a statement saying it has never had a financial interest in One America News' success and does not fund One America News. Although the contracts are confidential, in court filings, the founder of One America News cited monthly fees included in one 5-year deal with AT&T. According to an AT&T filing citing One America News' founders, numbers those fees to a total of $57 million. The founder and his adult sons own and operate One America News, a subsidiary of their closely held San Diego-based Herring Networks. Their AT&T deal includes a little-watched lifestyle channel called AWE. One America News founder, who just turned 80, is a self-made businessman who amassed a fortune in the circuit board industry, then turned to television and boxing promotion. One American News's influence rose in the late 2015s when it began covering Trump rallies live at a time when some of the media still saw the New York celebrity businessman as a long-shot presidential contender. The network continues to shower Trump with attention and often provides a friendly platform for his Republican allies. As President Trump frequently urged supporters to watch One American News, in his final 2 years in office, Trump touted the network known as OAN online to his 88 million Twitter followers at least 120 times. Hope everybody's watching at OANN right now, Trump tweeted on December 1st, citing a dubious report about a truck carrying more than 100,000 fake ballots. Other media outlets were afraid to show this because there wasn't anything to prove that this was really happening. State and federal court documents detail a lucrative relationship for One American News and AT&T, even as the two occasionally tangled in court. The records include a reported offer by AT&T to acquire a 5% equity stake in One American News and AWE, though the two sides ultimately signed a different deal. The court filings also cite a promise by One American News to cast a positive light on AT&T during newscasts. The confidential One American News financial records are drawn in part from testimony included by the One American News founder and the accountant, generated during a labor lawsuit brought against One American News by a former employee and unrelated person to AT&T. When the case went to trial last year, the network's lawyer told the jury that AT&T was keeping One American News afloat. If hearing networks, for example, were to lose or not renew at DirecTV, the company would close tomorrow. One American News attorney Patrick Nellis told the court. A transcript shows this. Researchers who tracked the rise of conservative media mainstays Rush Limbaugh and Fox News see similarities between the One American News pioneers and other new right-wing networks, particularly during their formative years. If someone recognizes that there is a market for something and there's a lot of money attached to the market, you get a means of communication. America's post-election turmoil, punctuated by the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, continues to roil the country. Dozens of election administrators in battleground states Trump has lost have received a barrage of death threats, and a quarter of Americans and 53% of Republicans wrongly believe Trump won the 2020 election. One American News caters to this audience. Trump's loss was One American News's gain. The network's online audience soared in November after conservative mainstay and One American News competitor Fox News affirmed Joe Biden's victory. Trump and his camp blasted Fox. A record 767,000 people installed the One American News app that month, 9 times as many as in October, according to the data firm that provided this information. In January, Trump supporters, including at least one carrying an One America News flag, stormed the U.S. Capitol. That month, app installs spiked again to 517,000. The One American News website averages 8 million visits a month from desktop and mobile users, having peaked at 15 million from November through January. 2 in 3 people on desktop computers return to the website after an initial visit, about the same loyalty rate as Fox News and Newsmax, another rival conservative news channel. One American News Television ratings are harder to measure, partly because it is available in only about a quarter of the estimated 121 million TV households in the United States. One American News says it is the fourth-rated news network behind Fox, CNN, and MSNBC, and they are ahead of CNBC, the BBC, and Newsmax, but has not provided figures to back this up. Even so, the number of viewers One American News reaches may be less important than the kind of observers it attracts. If you have 12 Americans being fed a diet of lies, that's 12 too many. And here, it's literally millions, said a university professor recently, very concerned about what's happening. When you have that sort of poisonous influence on mass media, it's a problem because elections in the United States tend to be so close, a few percentage points here and there can really make a difference. I'm Juan Andres. You can find us on more than 60 sites on the internet where you can listen to our podcast. Just ask Google Radio Labio and we'll show up, and you can choose whichever one you'd like to go through to get to us. On my behalf, as well as my colleague Yvonne Encinas, and our manager and fellow on-air personality Francisco Maldonado, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.